Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous, glorious humans, and welcome to the Allison Show. I'm Allison, and I am thrilled, excited, obsessed, delighted, and just relieved that you are here, because when you're not here, it's me talking to myself, which I would do anyway. I want to welcome you. If this is your first time listening, you are going to love this episode. And if this is your 200th time listening, oh my gosh, I love you. We're best friends. Let's make out. We are diving into a series that I know will serve you. This series is for you if you would like to have less anxiety. This series is for you if you would like to have a little more enthusiasm, excitement, and passion for living. This series is for you if you are feeling stuck or just burnout. And it's for you if you're a human. So as you can see, this series is really, really good for you. And it is called Principles of Magic for Everyday Living. And so a principle is a concept, an idea, a guideline that is a theme that carries throughout. And the first principle that we are exploring today is the principle, we need you. We need your magic. We need you specifically. It's something I've been saying a lot. At the end of each of my podcasts, I say only you can be you. You're already as awesome as you need to be. And I've started saying, we need you. We need all of you. We need every part of you. And only you can be you. The reason why this is a principle for magical living is because as the magician, as somebody who creates alchemy, who creates beauty, who creates in general, you are the only person who can do the job of your magic, of your creation. If you're like, why are we talking about magic? Why do I want some principles of magic for everyday living? We've got 2 episodes priming you. So if you need that, take a pause here and go listen to those other episodes. They're right before this one. But I have somebody that I am so honored, thrilled, elated. I've got cry face right now. My makeup was darling after talking to Amie McNee, the author of We Need Your Art. I realized the first principle for magical living is what I've been saying this whole time is we need you. And why I love Amie and why I love this book, We Need Your Art, and why I love our conversation so much is because we're going to tap into we need you. We need you as a creator. What does that mean? We came at it from every side. So it's like, if you don't feel creative, if you don't feel like you're an artist, if you don't really feel like purpose is that important, or you think it's important, but it's abstract, like we come at it at like the most basic level. And some of the ideas that Amie was able to articulate, I just wanted to start screaming. I was so excited. So, principles of magic for everyday living. The first principle is we need you. And what I'm going to talk to Amie about in this amazing conversation is we need your art. We're talking about her book, but you living your life, that is your art. That is your art. We need you. And we can't have you creating magic and living magically and feeling like the magician that you are, the alchemist, the creator that you are, if we don't have this principle in place that we need you. And we need you not just because we need your art, because it's not just about what you produce that makes you valuable. And so again, we can't even separate those messages right now, which is why we need these conversations. So welcome to the podcast. Amie McNee is an author. She's written multiple romantic mysteries. She is a coach, an instructor, a keynote speaker. She helps creatives and people tap into their art to their potential. And she has done a lot for me personally. And I'm so excited to share her with you. You've probably seen her on Instagram. She's got a great presence on there called Inspired to Write, where she often will be holding up signs with her handwriting, just encouraging creators. So I'm honored to have her on the podcast. Thank you, Amie. Let's get into it. You don't know what's about to happen right now. You don't like
very ready for whatever transpires, and I'm very excited.
I'm so honored. What I want to do
if you are willing to receive just for a moment,
Mm.
is give you a little bit of Amie. And by Amie, I mean, we do a thing that I call aggressive complimentary. Like we're aggressively complimentary, right? Like we both
I love
like
that.
I am supportive of people in an aggressive way.
It's violent.
Here's what I want you to know. I was just re-listening to some parts of your book that I love. I love listening to you say it because my first introduction to you was getting to hear you speak in person.
Mm.
And what I love about getting to hear you speak in person is you 100% embody your message. Like you carry that love, that compassion that you have fought like hell for. Like you carry that compassion that you've had to give yourself in order to create with reckless abandon. And you hear it in your voice, you see it in your countenance, you feel it in your presence. And I know that's one of the many reasons why you have been successful at finding a way to resonate online, because it happens in person, right? And so the byproduct of you living, breathing, and practicing what you preach, which basically is just authentic compassion for self, for others, for art, for nature, for the world, for humanity, right? Because your art is your connection to humanity. You embody it to such a deep level. Where I was at when I heard you speak, I'm usually not quite there. I'm usually like, I get low. That was like on my way to that conference, I had to pull the car over to throw up on the side of the road from stress. I couldn't throw up when I was pregnant. I repressed things so deeply, right? Like, this is like what I was like, Allison, how can you compliment Amie without centering yourself in the story? But then I was thinking the work of what you do is so personal by nature.
You should be centered in the stories.
Like,
I
well,
love
and also,
that.
if anybody wants me to be centered in the story to give
I
her
want
the
you to be.
thank you. Thank you
I want you to be centered in the story.
for validating the fact I center myself in the story and I'm like,
No,
so,
as soon as you said that, I have multiple things to say right now, obviously.
I know.
But as soon as you said that,
My-
I was like, it's the only way I ever want to be complimented is with the person who is complimenting me centering themselves in the story. And I want you to know that I'm truly and profoundly seen by you. And that when I got to meet you at that conference, I was moved by you and that I feel incredibly loved and seen. What a divine connection that we get to be together at the same time alive on this earth and that we get to speak with one another. I want you to be the very center of all your stories. And I love you very much.
And I love you very much. And when you stood up on that stage in your calm power, I got to go to this gorgeous conference where it was with Elizabeth Gilbert, like just, yes, thank you. And she was talking about how the calmest person in the room has the most power, actually.
Interesting.
And I've been obsessed with that because what calm looks like for me isn't like chill or zen, right?
Yes.
That's not what calm presents as with me.
Yes. I love that you say that because immediately I was like, oh, I had questions. So I love that that's not what calm is to you.
And what I felt from you was a calm, like that calm, quiet confidence that comes from not needing to prove, perform, or earn your worth.
Thank you.
What a job well done, because that is hard to do.
Thank you.
That's hard to do.
Truly. I feel
Now I want you to, now you're allowed to talk. Now that I'm counting problems, you're so good at life.
I can take the stage and I will not be taking any stages unless I am told how good I am by Allison. Like I need that.
Call me.
Otherwise I won't speak.
I am a verbal person. You call me anytime.
I mean, I feel unbelievably witnessed by you and that's incredibly important to me. And I could have a huge conversation about that. Like to feel seen is, I think, such a core need. And I feel incredibly seen by you. And I'm very, very grateful. I think what you are speaking about and what you see in me on stage is when you're saying this calm, all I could think about was like the word was like a knowing. I have this, like, I know. And what do I know? I'm not entirely sure. But there's like a deep knowing.
Thank you. Thank you, because I'm like, I'm absolutely positive I'm correct about what it's hard to say.
It's like complex and nuanced. Just stuff.
True. Yeah. Okay, let's set a little bit of context. Just so for context in your life, where are you at this moment? Like physically?
Yeah. So right now I'm in my little cottage in a village outside of Oxford, which is where I've been based for the last 2 years. I've just come off of, 3 months of book promotion. I'm finally awakening from like a cocoon. I needed 4 weeks of basically just watching The Office. And I know that sounds like, oh yeah, like maybe she watched The Office a bit. Like, I'm not joking. I sat down when I woke up. I ate all my meals in front of The Office, and then I went to bed for days on end. Like, I really need people to understand like how out of it I was to recover from that book tour.
Thank you for giving the visual of the eating meals, because my show like that is Drag Race.
I mean, deeply respect that choice. Deeply respect that choice.
Huh?
Very soothing. Yeah,
The
so I
Office,
am
endlessly perfect. I think it's like an examination of human nature and personalities, and it's like it's an interesting enough for your smart brain, but not dead enough that right. Like that was
exactly.
a responsible choice. Look at your responsible choice you made.
Exactly. My central nervous system required it. It chose The Office, and then I sat still for 4 weeks. So today is probably the first full day of work that I've done since for about a month. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm worried, to be honest. I may have pushed it too far, even 4 weeks into rest. But yeah, I've had a good and mentally stimulating day of creativity and doing things, and I get to finish it off with you, Alison. So truly slapper of a day.
Thank you for sharing that. I would love to hear you talk about it in your book, We Need Your Art. This book heals the world. In my coaching, in my one-on-one coaching sessions, Julia Cameron's The Artist Way is always the #1 prescription. And now I don't prescribe it without We Need Your Art. Because
That is the compliment.
books are medicine. Books are medicine. And when I heard you speak, and then when I read your book, and part of like my mission and goal lately is like I want to give a Julia Cameron level gift to creativity, artists. Like, what can I do at that level? And Amie, like this is that level. Like
Thank
this is
you.
that level. That like
Thank you.
it is a gift. And you talk about purpose in there, but just off the like, what are your thoughts? What have you encountered? What have you encountered when you work with people about purpose? What's your personal experience? Whatever lit you up around that idea, I'd love to hear.
Beautiful. I have a lot to say on that. Before we just dive into that, when you said, how can I give like something Julia Cameron scale to creativity? I thought in my head immediately, I just had the line like, it is destined for you to do something like that. Like that's what you're here to do. Speaking of purpose, like I really see that. Like it's destined. Like I can't look at you and think that anything else would occur from your life. I'm being very serious.
And that's the thing too. Like I said, you embody your message, so I believe you.
And
When you say stuff like that,
because
I
I'm knowing.
believe.
I told you at the beginning, I know. And again, I'm not sure what I know, but I know that one. I knew what I just said was true.
Thank you.
Purpose, yeah. The most, like at the core of everything I speak about is really what I'm talking about is purpose. And I've been thinking about it a lot actually lately. Been thinking a lot about, just going to go straight into big conversations, but I've been thinking a lot about AI and about job loss in the future, and about how we need to be having conversations about how we can be finding our individual purpose when we suddenly enter a world where work is not the center, where worship is kind of deconstructed because we don't need to all be working. And we're going to suddenly be faced with, okay, it's not what I have to do, but what do I want to do? What am I called to do? What is my purpose? I think artists are people who answered that calling no matter what, like artists are people who are like, I don't care what the world is asking me to do. I know that I'm here to create. But in a world where we aren't all being forced to do labor that perhaps we don't want to do, we're all going to be faced with the fact that we need purpose. We find some sense of purpose in our work because that is what brings us money and that's what supports our family. But it's like, it's not quite what we're here to do.
mistaking identity for purpose,
For purpose,
not
yes.
words in your mouth, but like that's what I like. I see that, like, because if you're if you are what you do, right?
Exactly. Put those words in my mouth, Alison. Put them all around my mouth because that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
They're yours. Take them.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And so I think we're headed for a real purpose revolution where we need to all start thinking about this. And, you look at people who retire and the lack of purpose in their lives because their identity was tied to their work. And we already see a little bit of this problem, but we're going to start seeing this like on a mass scale. And we don't know how fast it's going to happen. We don't, it could happen very quickly. It could happen slowly, but I think we all know that at some point it's going to happen. And so this idea of purpose, which has always been something that humans are seeking, is going to become like an acute problem for all of us. So we need to be having these conversations. For me, I felt so called. I felt so called from when I was such a young age. And I'm actually incredibly grateful that the calling was so annoyingly strong. I thought it was something that was wrong with me. I thought, oh my God, like, why can't I just do what everyone else is doing? Everybody else just seems to be able to cop it and ignore the things that are calling their name and just do what a normal adult does. But I wasn't able to ignore it. And I was like, what's wrong with me? But in reality, like, I'm so unbelievably grateful that for some reason I wasn't able to ignore my calling, which is storytelling, which is art, which is working with creatives. Like, I had a purpose and I needed to chase it. And a huge part of my work as someone who works with artists is to say that thing that is calling your name, that's holy, that's divine. I need you to listen. And I know that culturally, you're going to get so many messages that tell you to absolutely ignore it, to just put your head down and do normal, regular things. But that is the wrong decision to make. Like, you are here to make magic and you've been called. And now it's time to do the brave thing and like go on that journey.
When you stood on stage, you were standing in your purpose. And you standing in your purpose was the first time in a couple of years that I felt connected to my purpose again. And it was because you did exactly what you just spoke of, where you've searched, like, and I have a similar feeling of like, I thought I was insane and full of myself and delusional for feeling that calling. And I'm so grateful that I lost the feeling, because I couldn't understand what people were talking about who hadn't had it. And I genuinely prayed, yearned, called in, I want to serve in this way, like a silly little goose. Like I was so sincere about it, little idiot. And then not knowing, right? And so I want to say thank you again. That's why, like, you keep, like, you're giving me the language to be like, see, but Amie, you standing in your purpose, it's like literally full body confirmation of Alison. See her standing up there giving you permission, life, and relief. You do that for some people.
Yeah, you do.
And imagine if Amie had stayed home, or imagine, right? Like, all the things. And so I'm so with you, where it's like, to me, purpose feels like this matter of life and death, because I haven't been able to tolerate life without a connection to it.
Yeah. I wrote an essay about this, particularly in reference to like not being able to do a normal job. And I said I had an intolerance for a life that didn't sparkle. But it really is what you're saying. It's like, I have an intolerance for a life without purpose. And I had an intolerance to the idea that I would give my precious life to something that didn't mean anything to me, give hours and hours away of my life to something that doesn't light me up, that I would give my life force away to something else, to someone else's idea of important, to someone else's idea of productivity. Like, I couldn't handle it. And I'm so grateful for that stubbornness within me, even though it caused huge pain and huge depression. Like, I was very depressed because I was so upset with that part of myself, because I was like, you're broken, you're wrong, you're a child, like, grow up, grow up, grow up. Because that's where I was getting messages like from society. It was like, you can't do this. But I had purpose and I followed it. And every day, and right now in this moment, I feel it in my whole body. Like, I am so proud of myself because I fought for this. Because everyone who has that calling and purpose, you will have to fight for it. We're in a culture that tries to squish purpose out of people, that tries to
Yes.
make you quiet and compliant so you can just work in the cogs and work in the systems that serve the system in place. And so when you hear your purpose or find your purpose, and you don't even need to be particularly clear about what that purpose is, but when you hear that calling, whatever it is, follow it. Know that there will be resistance, but know that this is very important. And what you were speaking about before, Alison, I think was generosity. A lot of us, I think, feel when we follow our purpose, we're doing something very selfish. And I know that
Yes.
I felt that I was doing something incredibly self-indulgent, selfish, like egotistical to pursue my calling. And I need that story to be obliterated because, as you can just see of how Alison spoke about witnessing me and how so many people witness Alison, like when you are someone who stands in your purpose, you change people around you. It is the most profoundly generous act to chase your purpose, to chase your calling, to pursue what it is that's calling your name, because you will make huge reverberations in the spaces that you enter, in the ways that you take up space. Like, it is so unbelievably generous to say yes to what is calling your name.
Today's a great day to live your life on purpose.
Oh, amen. Hallelujah. Beautiful. This is so fun because I know you have similar experiences because we're talking about creativity. We're talking about following your dreams. I did a brand school where I tricked people that it was branding, but it was really just human needs psychology. Right? Like I was like,
She's sneaky.
branding, it's gonna make you cry. Right? And so
That's what I do all the time.
right? Do people apologize to you for crying and you're like, oh, sweetie,
This
you
was the
never had.
plan.
I'm with you, right? So I want to go right into the argument or the thought process that I have seen, witnessed, and felt in so many people when you and I say we can't waste our beautiful lives squandering. I feel as though the current narrative is, and I hope that we're coming away from this, but we were in a deep, deep place of entrepreneur is a hero. Put the entrepreneur on a pedestal. Working for yourself is better than working for anyone else. If you can't be artistic and work for yourself, you're failing because you're working for the man. And I have to quit my job, change everything I'm doing, maybe change my partner, maybe change my whole life because I have to live in my purpose. So I have to burn my present life down. And or there's no way to live in my purpose and have the job I have.
Yeah. Beautiful, delicious, super complex, desperately necessary conversation. We're so addicted to going big or going home in our culture. It's like, I want all in or all out, and there's absolutely no way I can live in the middle at all. The reality is that profound magic happens, profound revolution happens, profound emotional growth happens, profound change happens only when we take the tiniest little steps. And anyone who tries to take a big step, I'm like, okay, well, good luck. Like, I'm not saying that we can't have big dreams, big visions. Like, I am delusional. I'm delusional. Like, I have such huge magical dreams for myself. But the only way I will ever get that is through taking the tiniest steps. And it is the only way anyone should be getting anywhere. Because I think so many of us are addicted to this huge rush of quitting the job, making this new business, and they're giving us rushes of dopamine, all of the chemicals, but they're not what we need. And we're almost rushing the process in some ways. And the entrepreneur part of your question is super interesting. And I'd love to have that discussion with you because you're right. There is this veneration of the entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And it is not the only way in which to follow your purpose. Your purpose probably isn't having a business.
I started to see that where I was like, it's actually wildly non-compassionate to give everybody this message that your personality, your temperament, your nervous system, your set of skills has to be conducive to running your own business, because that's just not the truth. But I
No.
also want people to know I believe in their dreams and I believe that they can do anything they want, right? But is being your own boss actually the most compassionate part? And so I would love to hear. So this taking small steps,
Yeah.
and don't you love it? No one wants to hear it. No one wants.
No. This is the advice that I will give to everyone all the time, and no one, including myself. Like today, I'm like getting back into work, and I'm like, can I take the biggest step I can possibly find? I'm like, Amie, I thought you were like mildly famous for taking small steps. Like it's a huge journey to pull yourself back from always wanting to go all in or go home. And it's just something that we're used to. Like we want that reward, the reward of saying I'm going to do something massive. So yeah, baby steps for me have been a hugely important part of transformational purpose-filled living. And understanding that you walk towards a purposeful life by taking like tiny directions. I think Martha Beck calls it like, it's like 1 degree adjustments, you know? We don't need to be 180ing. It's just like a 1 degree adjustment. Like, did you do a little adjustment today? Do you need to do a little adjustment today towards purpose, towards like alignment and who it is you are? The entrepreneurial stuff is really difficult for me. And I won't lie to you. Like, I think I'm only at the beginning of these conversations because I am prone as someone who is, I think, made to work for themselves. I'm certainly absolutely not made to work for anyone else. That's probably more of the bigger piece. Maybe not made to work at all. Unfortunately, I think within this capitalist system, what a lot of people are doing is we're saying, oh my goodness, I've been so trapped by these systems keeping me small within the workforce that the only escape is entrepreneurship. And so we're getting fed this story that the only way that we can have any sort of liberation is to work for ourselves. And for many people, including me, it has been incredibly liberating. But the idea that everyone needs to quit their jobs and go build their own business, like, it's just a ridiculous solve. And I understand why we've got here, but it is a ridiculous solve to a very big problem that we're having. I think we've seen a lot of like, there's an amazing economist called Gary, I think it's Gary Stevenson. He's an English economist who's speaking about like just the wealth disparity at the moment. And whenever he goes into bat with other people in this arena, they want to say to him, well, if I know it's bad, but if you just become an entrepreneur, you can rise up and the economy's bad. And I know that, the younger generations don't have a lot of money anymore, but what if you became an entrepreneur? And it's like, this can't be the solution to everything. You can't just become an entrepreneur and have that be the way that we solve our economic problems, the way we solve this crisis of meaning that we're having. Like, it just can't be it. And so entrepreneurship is not the solve to the economy. It is not the solve to the crisis of meaning. It is not the solve to like the disenfranchisement of men. Like, it just isn't. So we need to be having more complicated conversations about this. And for me, when we come back to this conversation about purpose and calling, for me, art and our creative act can be done without needing to go, all in. And again, if you want to go all in, I'm obviously very behind this, but it doesn't need to be going all in. And it will always be required in baby steps anyway. So, figuring out that you love to watercolor paint and doing a tiny little amount of watercolor painting each week is a liberating act that calls you back home to your purpose and to who you are. And that doesn't require you to become a tech bro or a startup founder. It just requires you to find some cheap watercolor pens and find 10 minutes every Wednesday. And you will find a revolution in these small moments.
Oh, that is my favorite. A revolution in these small moments. Right? And I'm so with you where being an entrepreneur, it's being presented as a cure. And have you read Martha Beck's Beyond Anxiety, her newest book?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, the entire time I'm reading that book, I'm like, I knew I was right. That's like my response to the book was like, oh, good. Martha said it. Now I get to say it louder. It was where the feedback, like the echo chamber of the left side of the brain, which wants a very rational, linear, you produce value solution to live in your purpose. That is a left side of the brain solution is become an entrepreneur. And what that looks like in practice when I'm talking to people, I'm like, okay, real quick, you're trying to grieve your mom and your sister who just passed. You're raising 3 children, and you've told yourself that your problem is you're not brave enough to post on social media, so you'll never be successful as an entrepreneur or creative. So you can't live in your purpose?
It's a deeply, deeply sad outcome of this like culture of entrepreneurship that has like become so big over the last like decade. And again, I have so much empathy for why this has happened, because also when I speak to entrepreneurs who are like you, who want to sell this story, I'm like, I see you. I am you. Like, I get what you're trying to do, but you need to have a bigger picture here. And I think we've lost a bigger picture, and we've lost the structure that we're living in. Like, these entrepreneurs feel like they're working outside of the system, but they're not entirely. We can't be working entirely outside of the system. And the system is still designed, I think, to keep us very small. And I know that entrepreneurship can feel like a way to like really get on top of the man and like create your own life. But there are structural issues here that we need to look at that just cannot be ignored, and they cannot be evaded through entrepreneurship.
Okay, I have two questions that I don't want to miss. So I'm going to say them both, and then however we want to get to them.
Right.
One of the questions is, Amie, I'm not creative. And we need your art, but I'm not an artist and I'm not creative. That's one I want to make sure we get to, because like that's like a personal vendetta for me, right? And the other one that I want to get to is, okay, I work this meaningless job, or I work for the man. I'm so drained. I don't have time to be creative. How can I live in my purpose if I'm spending 8 hours, 10 hours a day out of my purpose? So it rather is practical tools for living in your purpose every day without needing your entire life to be different to do it.
Let's start there. I think of these people, and I speak to, creatives, and I was this sort of creative when I was working, the jobs that I was in, like when you are having to give so much of your time to something outside of your purpose, and you're not going to do the massive, I quit, I'm becoming an entrepreneur, and I deeply respect that. But I'm almost going to ask you to do something harder than quitting the job and becoming an entrepreneur. And that is, I'm going to ask you to give less of yourself to the things that is taking your energy, to the thing that isn't your purpose. And I'm going to ask you to start giving yourself more time, or at least more energy, to the things that light you up, to your calling. I wrote a big sign the other day that just said, what did it say? I said, slack off at work, give more time to your art. I think so many of us have been conditioned in, people-pleasing habits. And I think people-pleasing is a big part of the issue here. Is like we feel like we have to give everything to these corporations who are giving us very little in return. And so we're in a pattern where we keep meeting these expectations that are depriving us of energy, of joy, of love, when we could be coming under those expectations, when we could be giving less, but you've never felt safe giving less. So this is why I'm saying it's the most scary thing in the whole world, what I'm about to ask you to do. Because I'm asking you to give less. I'm asking you to potentially disappoint people, and I'm also asking you to reclaim your life for yourself. I'm asking you to put your energy where it matters most. I'm asking you to, you do have to go to work and do that work, but can you still, in your heart, prioritize what it is that is more important? Give your energy, give your 10 minutes before bed, as you're brushing your teeth, you're on your notes app, like give those small moments, those sacred, holy, transformative, tiny moments back to yourself and back to your calling. And this is in many ways harder than fully quitting and just doing something else. Because I'm asking you to do little things rather than big things, and humans find little things much harder, ironically, than doing the big things.
Well, it's not sexy. It's not sexy.
It's so unsexy.
There's no praise, and I love praise.
There's no praise. There's very little dopamine, but there is a revolution to be had. And so slack off at work. Save your energy for your purpose. Save your energy for your calling. Save your energy for the things that delight you. But saying slack off at work is going to be one of the hardest things you do, again, because it just doesn't feel safe for many of us to underperform, or to even mediocre perform, or to just do what is expected of us and not go beyond. A lot of us just haven't had the conditioning or the upbringing that allows us to not over commit, over work, over perform. But that's the journey I'm asking you to go on.
Yeah, I think that is so beautiful. I love what you're saying, because in one way you're saying slack off, but like what you're actually saying is, what is your value? What's the message? It lives in you. Hold it intentionally without outside validation that it's happening, and it's still happening. right? Like, it's like, I don't just live in my purpose when I interview you or coach or get up on stage,
Exactly.
right? It feels so unsexy, my life right now. I'm
Mm,
supporting my husband more than I ever have in terms of he's getting money and work, and I'm really holding it down at home. And I'm
mm,
supporting my children, and I'm showing up for my neighbors, and I'm showing up for
mm,
my family. And I'm sad because it's not sexy.
mm. Is
And
it
I'm
in your
like, no,
purpose?
yes.
Mm.
And so it's like coming back to, so am I slacking off, or am I actually just having a different definition of where the
Mm.
work should
Where the
go?
work is. I love this.
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to use the word artist, but you can you can put it in creator. You can put in whatever word's going to feel comfortable for you. But I say, like, you're still an artist when you're at work. Like, you are still
Yeah.
a creator. Like, when you're
Yes.
deep in parenthood, like, you don't get to put this identity aside. It is you. It is all of you. And I need you to remember that when you're deep in work that doesn't feel purposeful, that you are not an artist. You're not a creator. Like, you are always a creator and maker, and you're always like, it is immutable. More of recognizing that this is not something you want to do. This is who you are. This is an identity situation, and bringing that
Yeah.
energy with you wherever you go, no matter what unaligned work you have to be dealing with. Like, understanding that it cannot be taken from you.
I love that. And so when people hear we need your art or you're a creator, I don't understand how people tune out or turn off. But again, I've spent my whole life being validated for, oh, Allison, you're so creative. I've
Mm.
spent my whole life being validated for that. And because I've spent my whole life being validated for that, people also voluntarily on a regular basis, I'm not creative like you. And so
Can you
I know
imagine
that,
how
like,
often I get it? It's every
this
day, baby.
this is what I want. I'm like, I want to hear what you
Wind me
say to
up.
me. Yeah.
So when I say we need your art, I'm speaking to you. And I'm so sorry. Like, deeply, I grieve the fact that you have had the idea of artist, the idea of creator, that has been taken from you or ripped from you because it was your birthright. And when you were born, you were here to make art, you were here to create and make. And for many of us, that has literally been robbed of us along the journey. It has been robbed of us by art teachers who have told us we're, crap at art. It has been robbed of us by our parents. It has been robbed by friends. Like, it is often actually robbed from us by those who are closest to us. And again, I am so incredibly sorry, and I grieve that for you. But it is undeniable to me, and you could fight me all day long. Like, you are here to make things, to create things. It is the human condition. And so I don't care if you can't draw, neither. I don't care if you can't sing. Like, this is not about a skill level. This is not about the fine arts. Like, I'm so tired of us pedestaling the word art. Like, art is us. Like, you are an artist. Like, you have things to make. For me, the term art is anything that you make with the intention to connect. And I don't want to be snobby about it. And I need you to reclaim this word for yourself because it is a revolutionary word. I want you to understand that your art is expressed in so many different ways, and that you don't have to have any of the traditional skill set or the traditional callings to call yourself an artist. We see art everywhere in so many different forms. Cooking is an art, gardening is an art. But this podcasting, like, is an art form. Allison is a master artist when it comes to her words. Like, she is, you are. And so I need you to start inviting space for you to consider yourself as, like, a creator back into your life. Because again, it was your birthright and it's been robbed of you. And I'm so sorry it was robbed of you, but it is yours and I need you to reclaim it. I want you to, like, hold it so tenderly at first, because I know it's going to be hard to hold because you've been told it's not yours, but the word artist is yours and the word creator is yours. And I want you to take it, like, I'm giving it to you as, like, a little gift. Not a gift, it was your right, but I'm giving it back to you and I want you to hold it. And I know it's going to be uncomfortable for a little bit, but soon it's going to, like, meld into you and become you all over again.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you. There's a book called Orbiting the Giant Hairball.
It sounds
And
lovely.
yeah, you would love it. It's a very old book on creativity. And in that book, he gives this illustration that has stayed with me my entire life, that he would go and do assemblies. And in the younger assemblies, he would have people raise their hand, who's an artist? And the older the audience, the fewer the hands. And what you just said, it's so like gives such a visual to being robbed of that birthright, how age and time. And if we want, let's be conspiracy theorists. Let's talk about, let's do it. Let's get weird.
No, I will go for that.
Yeah, like why would it serve the evil overlord of whatever for us to believe we're not creators?
We don't need to like demonize the concept of capitalism, but the capitalism that we live under today, like it serves people at the top to make artists feel small or to rob the term artist from people, because artists are revolutionaries, we're rebels, we're artisans, like we disrupt the systems that are in play. And so it makes a lot of sense that artists and creators and that us as humans have been sold a story that it's not worth our time, that it's silly, that it's delusional, that you're not good enough for it anyway, that only the few make it. Like we've been sold a lot of stories about the creator and the artist, and those stories, they were robbing you of your birthright. And those stories are there because artists are dangerous, because creatives start revolutions, because we inform culture, because we change people's minds. And I think, we've been robbed of these titles because the title is incredibly powerful. And so when I ask you to reclaim it, I'm asking you to reclaim power.
And I love in your book, you say coronate yourself.
Put that crown on, baby, because
That
no one else
crown
can do it.
Right? I thought when my book was published by Harper Collins,
Yes, baby.
I'm a nationally published mama. That is going to get me all these opportunities, all these jobs, because now I'm a real author. I'm a real thought leader. No, I got life.
I think there's two things to say here. First of all,
Yeah.
it's literally a lie. Like,
Yeah.
even when you are like chosen by these institutions, like it's a load of crap. Like the
Yeah.
talk and the prestige around these institutions, it's mythical. And, again,
Yes.
just as Alison says, like, I mean, I've had, Grammy Award winners talk to me about how like life just went, like had a downturn afterwards. Like these big prestigious names, and these big prestigious awards, these big prestigious industries, they can choose you. It doesn't matter. Likelihood is that it's not going to impact you anyway. But the thing is that even if they like ricochet you into profound creative success, it doesn't matter, because you will always be searching for someone else to choose you until you choose yourself. So you can ask for someone to call you a serious author, and they can call you a serious author, but you will never feel like a serious author until you have put that crown on your own head. And you see deeply, deeply depressed artists all around the world chasing the next external validation, the next person who says you are legitimate, because they are refusing to do it for themselves. And it's a very, very sad cycle of creative like depression. Like it's a very, very sad way to go on your creative journey, to never choose yourself. So for me, the first thing an artist needs to do is put that crown on by yourself, baby. Hold your own coronation.
And that is one of the many, many actionable, easy to do, practical pieces of advice you give in your book. We Need Your Art. One of the reasons I love your book is because it's entertaining. I love listening. I own, digital and physical because I like both. And because you have so many good journal prompts. You have so many good questions. And so I like to have a physical version of that so I can use it like a workbook, right? And then everybody needs to get the audiobook because, like I said, you embody your message. So when you hear your words, when people are listening to this podcast, they hear it. And that's the concept that this is like is so true to me. We're never taught truth. We remember truth, right? You and I, we're not sitting here teaching anything. We're spouting truth that we have a knowing of, hoping that the way you and I say our knowing, somebody might be able to feel that remembrance again.
Yeah,
right?
Beautiful. I love that.
Because that's what I feel in your book. I go, oh yeah, oh that feels good. Oh, that feels right. Oh, that feels true. in every cell of my body. And in Martha Beck, she does a great job in Beyond Anxiety talking about how the body doesn't lie to us, right?
That was a big journey for me. But I love Martha's work about that body, because for so often I was like, my body would tell me things and I'd be like, you're a liar. When she cannot lie. She can only tell the truth. And what a profound realization.
And our bodies, and this is like helps me feel validated in the urgency and the intensity of the message, is this isn't working. Our bodies are shutting down. Anxiety is not a individual problem, it's a societal problem, right? And by problem, I mean something that is calling, crying, screaming for attention, to be heard, be taken care of, to be nurtured. And our solutions, which are basically just screaming back at our body,
It
haven't
ain't
been
working. It ain't working.
right. And what I know is art saved my life. Art saved my body. Allowing art back into my life, allowing the compassionate voice, the creator, to be the central figure of my psyche, right? Like
I love it.
that is what brought me back to wanting to live life. And so to people who are feeling, honestly, man, it's
not
cool that
okay.
you're talking about purpose. It's cool that you're talking about all this stuff. I literally am just kind of like at this point, just showing up and like maybe hoping that it doesn't have to be so long and hard, right? Like I think like what is a piece of something that you would offer that has to do with this message, but like is we're taking it down and meeting them where they're at on that level.
First of all, I would say that I love you and I'm so proud of you, and that life can be very, very hard, and that you are a creator and an artist even when you absolutely cannot create. Again, this is not a title that can be robbed of you. I don't care if you've not created or made anything or thought about anything for years. This is not a title that can be robbed of you. And your art waits patiently for you, and your creations wait patiently for you. And what you need to navigate, if you just need to get through it, you can. And your art will wait, your creations will wait. You do not need to be creating in the fire of life. Some people find it really helps to create through the fire, but a lot of people just can't. And for me, I know that if I can't create in fight or flight, and I think a lot of us are in fight or flight, like the act of creation really is the opposite of an activated central nervous system. We need to feel safe to create in some sort of way. I actually get a lot of flack on that, but I'm standing strong on this. Like, we need to feel an element of safety to create.
I say it sounds cruel to a person in a dysregulated state to tell them to meditate, create art. Like that's a mean thing.
Because your central nervous system, it is unintentionally, because your central nervous system cannot get there. And so it's okay that you can't. And I just, it's okay that you can't. Like, I have had so many times in my life where I cannot, because I can't create when I'm having a panic attack. And I had years where I was having panic attack after panic attack. I can't write. I can't tell stories in that state. And that's okay. It didn't rob me of the fact that I'm here to make things. And in fact, it gave me a lot to work with, to be honest, later. But you don't need to be creating in the fire. And it's okay that you can't create when you're so activated. I just need you to get through this, because eventually things will shift slowly, 1 degree turns, and you are going to find your way back to what your calling is and what your purpose is. But that's not for right now. And you don't need to think about that right now. Right now, I just need you to be as tender with yourself as you possibly can. Right now, all I need you to do is to find a voice within you that is so unbelievably kind, because you are so deserving of a profound amount of care and compassion as you navigate very, very difficult things. So I just want to validate you. And I want to remind you that your art waits patiently and that you are still an artist.
I just got like such a sense of relief when you said that. Just such a sense of peace. And Amie, what other than every single person's going to buy both copies of your book, Audible, physical version. Is there any other message? Is there anything else you'd like to express? If not, if we've got it, great. But is there anything else you'd like to share, promote, express, talk about that I didn't hit on?
The only thing that was just coming to my mind a little bit at the end there was this idea of like, we're a culture of consumption and I want to change it back to being a culture of creation. And I think a lot of the times when we're feeling pretty off, we're feeling weird, it's often because we've consumed too much and we've not leveled enough out. And so just keeping an eye on that balance, like create, like when we're feeling weird, like stop consuming and start creating. When you're feeling off, like stop consuming, start creating. Like I feel like we're almost like overfed and we've got to kind of put our own spin on things. We've got to synthesize all this information we're getting. We've got to see it through our own lens and like alchemize it into our own art. And I think a lot of us feel a bit blocked because there's like a lot of input, not a lot of output. And so I think I'm just, encouraging that creation over consumption. Like we have to consume. I mean, we get to consume and we should delight in consuming. But that creation, like letting all of that stuff that's in you just come out and be alchemized in your own magical way.
And I love that. So if people feel like they can't create, you wrote a guidebook. So you're not even asking people to do something that you have not also spent decades of your life, like taking your experience and distilling it down into a very digestible, very entertaining, very inspiring manual. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I really just want to take people's hands and be like, this doesn't need to be as scary as you think. So if you are wanting to either like develop your creative practice or just step into it, like I'm gonna hold you and we're gonna very gently do it together. Just again, I hate to say it, one baby step at a time.
I am so grateful for you. I'm so excited for your everything. Whatever it looks like next, I'm so excited for it. And I know that it will be exactly what the world needs and exactly what you need. I'm so grateful that I've had the chance to read your book. And thank you for your generosity and your time today.
I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye. Thank you.
Amie. I wish you guys knew how much I cried. Maybe you could see, maybe you could tell. Lots of times when I talk to people that like they've really helped and affected me, I can get nervous, I can get anxious. And I just had the greatest sense of peace preparing for the interview, thinking about the interview. I had the greatest sense of peace being in the interview. And I'm just so grateful to Amie for the hard work that she has done. I cannot recommend her book enough for you, for your teens, for your mom, for your dad, for your cousin, for your sister. But you know who actually really needs it? You, because we love to think about how everyone else we know needs things when in reality, it's most likely for us. Thank you, Amie. I hope that you guys follow her if you're online on Inspired to Write. She is a part of a writing room, which is a gorgeous conference. And I'm going to link to that. That's where I saw her speak. I'm going to link to her book. And I highly encourage you to get it in every format available. And I want to say thank you again to Amie for the important work you're doing, the beautiful spirit and compassion that you carry in you, and that I got to bask in it and benefit so greatly from it. I'm so grateful you listen to the podcast. I'm so grateful that you are in my life. I'm so grateful that you are a part of this community. I am so grateful that I get to tell people they matter. Best job ever. I gave it to myself. I coronated myself. And I'm just really lucky that I get to do it and it gets to be part of my work. And I want to leave you with this. Only you can be you. And we need you. We need you. We need your magic. We need every part of you. I love you, lover.